So I'm back from initial ride, and we did a pretty good job scrubbing off some of the, I guess, initial rubber off of these tires. You can see we're almost to the edges where there are no kind of tread sipes or any kind of pattern, just a straight rubber on the edge, which I probably won't be using that much anyway. So those roundabouts seem to have done a pretty good job, especially on this left side. Pretty much almost to the edge there. So that was a pretty good initial ride. My initial impressions are it does not take much to get these things warmed up and scrubbed in and ready to go fresh from the factory once you get them installed. I would say the main thing you want to do is take your time getting adjusted to the way the bike responds and behaves with the new rubber. But all in all, initial 50-mile review and break-in is pretty good. I'll take it out one more time, put another 50 miles on it or so, and then I will consider these tires broken in or scrubbed in. But so far, Michelin Road 6s, A+. Out and about. So what are we, 2100 miles on the Z900? Gonna go get some new tires on this bad boy. Trying to beat the storm too. Upgrade these Dunlops, these stock Dunlops come from the factory, equipped on these Z900s. See if we can upgrade Michelin Road 6s. Heard a lot about them. Heard a lot about the Road 5s as well, but might as well go with the latest and greatest technology. The latest and greatest in tread pattern and compound technologies, construction, all that good stuff. Alright, we're here. Getting some tires, baby. Alright. Moto Maddox. We have the new Michelin Road 6s. So these bad boys aren't scrubbed in yet. It's gonna take about 50 to 100 miles. So we'll take it easy. So you'll get some initial impressions of how these things feel brand new. was about time to get those stock Dunlops taken off of here. Some general in-lane maneuvers, get a sense how these tires feel, but I think it will be a good investment. Everything that I've heard about the Michelin Road 5s have been good, so naturally these Road 6s are an improvement over the previous generation tire. Evidently you get 15% more wet weather traction than the previous versions, the Road 5s, and also 10% longer tread life or wear than the previous version. So I think this will be a good tire for this motorcycle. A nice blend of traction and wet weather performance, also good wear from everything that I've read and heard about. We won't be able to really test the performance of these bad boys. Let's say, let's call it 2,200 miles. So right now we're still at 2,107. So we'll go ahead and put, 100 miles on them before we really start testing the limits and testing the performance of these things. Yeah, so this drive home, we're actually going to try to beat the rain, even though that would be a pretty cool test. We got a little bit of rain, but I usually only ride when the weather's nice and the weather's clear, but it's good to have some tires that are capable of performing well in less than ideal conditions if you need them. So that was one of the other motivations of why I went with these Michelin Road 6s. No need to try to get slicks or super aggressive tires for road use. A couple reasons why I'll probably not be able to take advantage of any additional performance that they allow, not on the road anyway. And you also have to get them up to temperature before they start operating to their fullest. But something like these Road 6s, they don't have to get heated up or warmed up a lot to start working well. First couple miles these bad boys did hook up. So we'll see how things progress over time. Nope. counter steer there. Different. The turn in is different, baby. That's why they tell you take it easy for the first 50, 100 miles. That was definitely different. This one is a kind of pretty important kind of update. You can see has some fresh tires. Even the little nubs are still on the tires. So these are Michelin Road 6s. I've only put like about 10 miles on these tires, and that just comes from riding from the install place, the installation shop. Aside from a slow, sharp right turning out of the parking lot and driving home, I really haven't put these tires through any type of cornering or anything. You can kind of see that, you know, you haven't really touched the sides at all. One thing I will say is that when I made that first kind of left-hand turn into my community, the response from the bike with these new tires kind of surprised me a bit. So when folks say take it easy for the first 50 to 100 miles, it's not just, you know, breaking in the tires. It's actually giving you an opportunity to get kind of used to the way the bike performs with the new tires. So right now I just happen to be by a couple roundabouts, so we'll be able to kind of test a little bit of lean pretty quickly. Hopefully the roundabouts aren't too crowded, but let's see. So what I'm gonna do is just really take it easy, try to get used to the tires. So I'll take these pretty slowly. It does tip in pretty quickly, I will say. It's a little unsettling based on what I'm used to, and this roundabout is not smooth like I would like it. You can see they're doing some construction, but I'm actually putting a nice bit of lean, and the tires going pretty slow though. Still not comfortable with them yet, but why don't we go up to another roundabout. I know the ones further up here should be in much better shape, you know, not subject to all this construction that's going on right in this little piece. But I can say it's a very different feel. Even though these aren't really V-shaped, they're not super aggressive, they're still kind of rounded, but it's still different from the stock Dunlops that I'm used to. So it's going to take a little while for me to get used to these. So initial impressions are, yes, these are definitely different from the stock tires. So let's see how this roundabout feels. Yeah, it just tips in so easy. You know, I'm still not quite used to it. Still not quite used to it yet, but it's super planted, I can tell. So I can't wait till I really kind of get these things scrubbed in. You know, maybe in
same roundabouts and kind of see how they feel. Let me do this one a little wider. Yeah, it's pretty effortless, I would say. I'm forgiving this a pretty decent amount of lean. I don't think I would even have felt comfortable doing this much on those stock tires. But you see, I'm, you know, kind of keeping it pretty mild. One thing I can say is that it is definitely hooking up quickly, so you know, my straight line acceleration feels nice, no issues. Really wouldn't feel a lot of slip anyway with the traction control enabled. I do have the Z900 in sport mode. I pretty much keep it in sport mode. So what we'll do is try to find my normal curvy routes and see how it feels. Try to get some initial impressions, you know, for the first 50 miles or so. Alright, so kind of pulled over just to check and see if, you know, that roundabout did anything significant. If it would, I would have seen a little bit more kind of scrubbing on the left side. Yeah, I guess it did do a little bit more, because you can see on the right, you know, the kind of original rubber still kind of goes into this groove here, but the left one, you can see it's kind of toward the edge, so that roundabout did kind of scrub a little bit more of the left tire, and see if there's anything noticeable with that quick. Let's see. Yeah, it actually is noticeable. Like if you use these two sipes, as I think you call them, as indicators, this one appears to be a little bit more wear on this left side, so just wanted to stop and do a quick check. But yeah, let's continue with the ride. So one thing I can say is that it's different. It takes some getting used to. I know the timing is totally different. It doesn't seem like I have to turn in as quickly as I normally would. So I'm still getting used to it. It's definitely a different feel, a different dynamic. So yeah, I'm quite sure that the experience is going to be totally different once these things get broken in and I get comfortable with them. Oh, the other thing I just noticed, you know, I was trying to apply some trail braking there. It does feel different when I'm braking as well, you know. Pretty important consideration, but yeah, it's definitely let's do a little bit of emergency braking there. Yeah, it bites, you know, the tires definitely bite. Yeah, it tips in pretty quickly. quicker than those stock Dunlops. So all the timing that you may be used to needs to be adjusted a bit. I'm used to having to initiate lean a lot earlier than I have to with these tires, so I would say initial impressions of the Road 6s is definitely a big improvement over the stock tires in every way. I'm getting a little bit more bite, you know, from my braking. You know, cornering performance is definitely improved. It's a totally different feel. I can definitely feel the bike responding a lot faster when I initiate lean. And I'm really just riding at about 50%. Even when I was comfortable on the Dunlops, you know, still only go about 75% on a public road, 80% every now and again. But even with this kind of leisure pace, see these twisties? I can say it's more of me just getting adjusted to the tires, more so than even breaking them in, because they're performing nicely. So, you know, this braking period, I'm going to consider an opportunity for me to get comfortable with this new feel. Pretty amazing how simple tire change can make the bike feel so different. I can only imagine what you know, professional riders experience, you know, like the Moto GP riders every time they try a new tire compound, or I guess it's not much of no tread design on those racing slicks, but I guess every time they put on a new tire or do something different, quite sure it's pretty significant change. Just makes you appreciate all the engineering, management, knowledge capture, data management that goes into racing. So many variables you have to keep track of each change, so you know if it's positively or negatively impacting your performance. Yeah, these things are certainly warmed up. Get used to the braking feel, but now my trail braking is kind of back to normal. Like right there, you know, coming up over hills, it's a habit that I'll trail brake. It's not always seeing around the corner. I even do that spicy over the top. I was able to trail brake pretty smoothly. Initial impressions of the Road 6s, probably about 30 miles in, and these bad boys feel good. Certainly passed the initial impressions test.